Okay, yeah, it looks like we have folks from a bunch of different places. Dougherty County in Albany, Leander, Texas, Alabama, Virginia, um, Long Beach, California, Lafayette, Louisiana. Great. We're located in Houston, Texas, and Matt is actually located in New York City. So great. Let's go ahead and get this going. So as I mentioned, I'm going to give you guys kind of walk you through a presentation, and then Matt is going to take everyone through, a walkthrough of the product, a live demonstration of the product. So, okay. And actually, just a few housekeeping notes. We also joining us is Guyan, and Guyan does sales operations here. And so Guyan is available to answer questions. So as we go through this, please don't be shy about asking questions. I like to make these as interactive as possible. And also, before the end of the presentation, we'll probably add some handouts to the presentation, so you'll be able to download a pricing sheet and a couple of useful pieces of collateral. So you'll see that in the menu. Okay, so what is SnapStream? First, just to give you an outline, I'm going to be respectful of everyone's time. I think that we normally complete these webinars, at least the part of it where we present, in about 30 minutes. And so what we're going to cover today, we're going to just give you some background on who we are. We'll talk a little bit about video being used for morning announcements. That's one of the primary reasons why people buy SnapStream, is to enable an easy-to-use system for video morning announcements. We'll talk about using TV in your curriculum. That's another part of how people use SnapStream in K through 12, is for viewing broadcast television, CNN, MSNBC, Discovery Channel, etc. And I'll give you an overview of our product and our technology. And then we'll talk about one of our case studies, which is Goose Creek Independent School District, located in Baytown, Texas, not too far from here, and how they use SnapStream to share morning announcements and television to about 24 campuses in their district. And then Matt will do a live demo, and we'll talk about how we can get you going, if you're interested, get you going with a proof of concept at your school district. So to start out with, though, I want to, and I'll do a bunch of these during the webinar. I'm going to ask a question and then share the results back with the group. So first question, which is pretty simple, is do you have a current solution for IP television in your district? I'll give a chance for everyone to respond. All right, so close the poll and share it with everyone. So you should see a poll here. So most of the attendees don't have an IPTV solution. That's very good to know, very helpful. Okay, let's continue on with the presentation. So who are we? So SnapStream is a Texas-based company. We're located in Houston, Texas. We're about 35 people, and we have for many years made products that help organizations of different kinds, including K through 12, work with video and specifically broadcast television. So we're well known as the company that provides the technology that allows the Daily Show and Colbert to record and search television. We're used by the White House, the Pentagon, and a few hundred other customers. And in the last 3 years, we've grown a significant business in K through 12. And so we're also used by K through 12 schools to get TV and video around the school district. So, the trends here that we are a part of is, as you all probably know, schools are shifting to video morning announcements, where you have in-house studios, and you might have a TriCaster that you use to as the sort of production suite for your in-house video productions. And the drivers here are video-based announcements are more engaging. It's a way to get students involved in communications, so they build useful skills. And it's just, obviously it's the way that that things are shifting. So the other part of this is of what we do is creating a way for teachers to easily integrate television into their curriculum. And when I say easily, I don't take that statement lightly. We really take a lot of pride as a company in how easy we make it for organizations for teachers, and teachers don't have time to learn new technology. They work hard to have time to teach their materials, but we really do make it easy so that the product is something that quote unquote just works. And we make it so, again, just like video morning announcements, teachers can integrate this visually engaging material, weave it in with their classroom. And we'll talk about, as we go through the presentation, Matt will do a demo and talk about how television can be integrated into the classroom in ways that it couldn't be before because of our specifically our search technology. Some of the things we've seen schools do that are pretty creative. We've seen schools use SnapStream for foreign language instruction. So the teacher will have, in the French class, will have the students watch last night's news broadcast on Canal Plus, and that becomes a very topical and accessible way for students to learn the language, to gain greater skills of fluency. Yeah. So real quick, there was a question from Laurel about whether this is going to be information session about the product or tutorial. So Laurel, we will go into a demo of the product, but it is mostly for folks that are not customers of SnapStream. You mentioned that you recently got SnapStream at your school. That's awesome, but we separately can arrange training for you. Our support team frequently does trainings, and we just would need to set that up. So if you want to drop me an email, rakesh@snapstream.com, I can connect you with the right folks on our support team to get some training set up for you. So, okay, back to the presentation. So it's also used in media studies class. By a show of hands, how many of you have some sort of a media studies class in your school? This is something that we didn't have this when I was in school, but I've seen increasingly schools have some sort of a media studies class. Yeah, okay, great. It looks like quite a few, actually. That's great. Media studies, the people who teach media studies, they go bananas over our product because it's so useful. It's for the same reason, honestly, that The Daily Show and Colbert and Samantha Bee and John Oliver are voracious users of SnapStream. So, all right, continuing on. I have another poll question for you. So I'm curious here whether how you currently distribute television or morning announcements within your school. So do you distribute it over coaxial cable? Do you distribute it? Do you use YouTube, IPTV, etc.? So, or something else, some other. All right, looks like we have most of our votes in. I'll go ahead and close this and share it back out. So, yeah, Yeah, so quite a few people naturally, I think, use YouTube. I think we should have made this question something that you can choose multiple options, because obviously many of you use, more than one option to, in the mix of all the options here. So anyway, so continuing on the presentation, back to the slides. You know, a lot of times the driver for our product is specifically for TV distribution is, upgrading your infrastructure rather than running separate network of coax cable to the classroom, rather than having, TV devices in the classroom. You just want to use the projector and the computer that you already have in the classroom, or whatever display device you might have, a flat panel display that's mounted up on the wall. And SnapStream delivers that by delivering video over your local area network. So roughly how SnapStream works is you can place SnapStream in your central data center in your school district. And there's a school version of SnapStream as well if your ambitions are smaller and you just want to deploy it at a single school. But most of our customers deploy SnapStream in a central data center, and then it can be accessed over the local area network at each of the schools. And there's also an architecture where you can put encoders, single channel encoders for video cameras for morning announcements at each school. So you can have 1, 2, 3 sources that are only available within school 1, school 2, and school 3. Those can be set up however you want. So you got, television, morning announcements. You can also have, you can create your own programs as files and then upload those into SnapStream, where SnapStream acts like a video server, and you can connect other video sources such as DVD players into SnapStream as inputs. So all these things are options. Characteristics of SnapStream: we really take pride in the fact that SnapStream is very easy to use, and so we do find that we get great feedback from teachers on the ease of use of the product. And it's not a coincidence. That's just where how we tackle the problem. We really we aim to make the product really easy to use. There's a program guide which Matt will show you when he does a demo of the product. So yeah, we really aim to make the product simple and easy to use. We make it really easy to do morning announcements. So it's a series of very simple steps. You turn your camera on that you're making the recordings off of. You click record now and you're live. We also make it really easy to take any TV feed, cable, satellite, antenna, and route that to your users. Another thing that we're really good at is, because everything we do is standards-based, using HTML5, we don't have any kind of a custom player that has to be installed on desktops. You just need a modern web browser. And so we work not only on Macs and PCs, Windows PCs, but we also work on Chromebooks and other iPads, iPhones, Android, both tablets as well as phones, Android tablets and phones. So there's a question, Laura, and the question is, can you live stream? And so within the school, you definitely can watch videos like morning announcements or television live. So, but if you're talking about something that's, say, for example, external facing, for example, live streaming a school event, a sporting event, for example, to parents, that's really not a focus for us. That's not part of what SnapStream delivers as a solution. So good question. If you are recording shows, and not all schools record shows, but it's really easy, you kind of get that for free with SnapStream if you want it. But if you're recording shows, we make it really easy for, first of all, to make the recordings, but then second of all, for teachers to create clips and integrate those into their slide presentation, PowerPoint, Blackboard presentation, etc. As I mentioned, you can also upload your own files from any MP4 file. We support some other formats as well. So you could put school sports, in-service materials, class lessons into SnapStream. And then we also have a SnapStream TV set-top box, which is a Android-powered, HDMI-connected, remote control-driven experience that extends all of the live and recorded videos that might be in your SnapStream to any television inside the school. And it has central control and manageability features. So this can also act in a limited fashion like a digital signage solution. You can control TVs in the school. And for example, if you want to put the State of the Union on all those televisions, you could, or let's say a shuttle launch, you can centrally push that live feed out to all those televisions. Yeah, so we'll get into the case study here in a moment. I'm going to ask another poll question, and then there's some questions from the audience that I'll answer right after that. So let's take a look at, I'm curious, we talked about the different use cases for SnapStream. So I am wondering what your use case might be. Are you more interested in morning announcements? Is it broadcast television and announcements? Is it internal content that you create yourself? What would be like the driving use case for something like SnapStream within your school? Okay, great. Yeah, these are great answers. I'm going to share this out to everyone. It actually really matches up with what we've seen in the past. So I'm going to close the voting and share the results out. So essentially, of all the attendees, about half are interested in both TV announcements, TV and morning announcements, and the other half are just interested in morning announcements. So, to say that more clearly, everyone's interested in morning announcements. About half are interested in television as well, alongside TV announcements. It's kind of a rough summary of the data. So absolutely what we see, folks interested with SnapStream all the time. Okay, so we talked about the set-top box. Let me answer a few of these questions. We are going to send a copy of the webinar out by email after the presentation. We're recording it, so no problem on that. There's a question about whether live announcements are actually live. So meaning, do all the receivers receive the signal at the same time? Are the internal streams unicast or multicast? So you have the option with SnapStream to set up SnapStream both ways, unicast or multicast, and you can do live video either way as well. So you can unicast or multicast a live television channel or a live morning announcements channel. So it's really just a question of how you set it up. We have customers that start out intending to multicast, and then they decide that unicast is fine, that their networks are scalable enough, and the traffic is not going to be so high that unicast is a better option for them. So yeah, it just depends on how you end up setting it up. So we are we're about 3 years into having Goose Creek Independent School District as a customer. So to tell you a little bit about them there and what their goal was, they had in a bond a proposal to include video morning announcements and TV distribution to their 23,000 students, and so when it came time for them to fulfill this requirement, they went out and put together what was important to them, and ultimately did kind of a bake-off between a couple of different vendors. So ease of use was a #1 priority. I would say the IT folks at Goose Creek were pretty seasoned, and they had experience in deploying technologies that got out there but didn't actually get used. And so it was really important for them to really deploy something that was really going to get used by teachers. So it was a top priority. They wanted support for all device types. They have had a surge in the number of Chromebooks that are deployed across the district. They wanted something cost effective, and they had to be able to do a proof of concept. Like I mentioned to you, part of the idea for them was they did a very detailed bake-off between multiple vendors, where they put them next to each other in the lab. They got teachers, instructional coordinators to use the product and give them feedback. So ultimately, they chose SnapStream, and we heard the feedback from them that it was really because of our ease of use that we won the business. In fact, they said there were vendors that had more quote unquote boxes checked where features were concerned, but they believed that SnapStream was the product where the product would actually get used by teachers, and that it would delight teachers and be something that actually got used. So the architecture of the overall solution you see here, in their case, they as a part of the overall project, they purchased 30 of these video camera carts to go into each of the schools, and a couple of them were free floating devices. But they had 24 cable set-top boxes connected into SnapStream, connected into a SnapStream encoder, those connected into the SnapStream EDU server, which is built to be extremely scalable with all flash drives and an advanced RAID configuration for those of you that are technical. We built a custom program guide that was configurable per school. So different schools would have their school's morning announcement channel. That'll make more sense when Matt goes through his demonstration. And they had a SnapStream EDU 1-channel encoder that was located on these individual campus camera carts. And this took the output of a video camera, and that was an HDMI output from the video camera that was on each of these carts. So they were essentially mobile video carts, and that single channel encoder fed into SnapStream, and so within any classroom now at Goose Creek, you can load up. I think I have actually seen the deployment. It's something like Goose Creek TV is the NetBIOS name that they've assigned to it. So you type that into any browser, and you're dropped directly into the SnapStream interface. And we've actually done analysis of their usage statistics, and it gets used a ton over there. In fact, if you go online and search Twitter, they have instructional coordinator and parent and teacher body there that tends to tweet a lot, and you'll actually see a lot of feedback there. So just one piece of feedback that we got, and the case study for Goose Creek is attached as a handout to this presentation. So if you go into the handouts, you'll see a PDF that you can download. But they said we bridged the gap between technology and teaching. They really liked how easy it was to use, and you can see some of the places where they're using it in these tweets out there. So I've talked for a long time, and I'm told that it's better if I don't talk too much. So I'm going to hand the keyboard off to Matt. Matt, do we have you on the call here?
Yes, I'm here.
Matt, are you there?
I am, yes.
There you are. Got it. Okay, well, Matt, you should have access to the keyboard, and I'll get you set up here, and yeah, you can take it from here, Matt.
All right, perfect. Well, yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to jump into the actual SnapStream software, and I'm going to show you how you know, what your teachers in the classroom would be accessing in order to, you know, access your morning announcements or, you know, live television. You can see here that we're in Google Chrome, but as Rakesh mentioned, you know, SnapStream can work in any browser on, you know, pretty much any device. So in here we have, you know, Snap Demo as the URL. Rakesh said that, you know, Goose Creek has Goose Creek TV. So you can create a custom URL that your teachers will enter into the browser, and that loads up SnapStream. Each user, each teacher would have their own user login, and that's all configurable, you know, down to the user level. You can see it's a very clean user interface. Rakesh had, you know, mentioned how, you know, easy the system to use and is to use, and it really is. It all kind of starts in the program guide. And in this program guide, we have some over-the-air TV channels, and we have at the bottom, we have what would be a simulation of, you know, a live morning announcements feed. I know, you know, there was about 50% of the attendees on the webinar today who were interested in both TV and morning announcements. So this is what, you know, your program guide would look like. You would choose what channels of television you wanted to have accessible to your school. Let's say Discovery, National Geographic, CNN, and then you have a morning announcement feed like we do here at the bottom. If you just wanted morning announcements, you just have a single feed there. In order to, you know, go into the morning announcements, I just click on that, and then I click Watch TV, Watch Live TV. And, you know, this is a little video that we have put together from a school, but this is, you know, would be live morning announcements. So picture, you know, 8 a.m., 8:20 a.m., your teachers, and they go in the classroom, whether it's a smart board or a projector, they go into SnapStream and they queue up the morning announcements. This can be either done live, or if you wanted to pre-record the morning announcements, they could then watch that recording. So it can be, you know, it can be done both ways. I was working with as Rakesh mentioned, I'm in New York, and I was working with a very small school in Brooklyn, a few hundred students. It was a small private school, and they didn't really have an IT department, but they wanted to use, you know, SnapStream for morning announcements, and they also wanted to use it for like parent-teacher conference night. The principal wanted to be able to have parents in the classrooms sitting there, and she would be, you know, in front of the camera, but all the parents would be able to see her. So the parents were in their individual students' classrooms, and the principal was on the screen live, you know, having the parent-teacher night. So, you know, a lot of different configurations. And as I mentioned, that school, very small, didn't really have an IT department, unlike Goose Creek that, you know, was more advanced on that side. But SnapStream, because of how easy it is to use and how easy it is to configure, you know, we were able to run the proof of concept. It was able to work for them, and then they, you know, ended up buying the solution.
Hey, Matt, I want to add something. There was a question, and we normally address this, but I think we missed addressing it here. But there's a question about if the video is always this choppy. So just to be clear, short answer is no. The video looks great in reality, but over GoToMeeting, any video playback that you try to do, it comes across as choppy. So yeah, imagine, if you will, beautiful and perfectly smooth video, and that's what the experience is really like.
Yeah, thank you, Rakesh, for that. So let's jump back into the user interface, and let's, you know, say for example that now, you know, we actually wanted to watch, you know, television. So we can, you know, choose the channel that I'm interested in. I'm going to select CNN for this, you know, use case. CNN then jumps to the top, and I click on this, and I'm going to click watch recording. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to watch this recording live. So if we would turn on, if you would turn on CNN at your school right now, this is what you would see. Regarding ease of use, you can see that we have a little tutorial here that pops up. This is something that, you know, just would walk your teachers through the product at the first time they used it, and then they can go back to it later on, you know, as a refresher. But you know, once someone uses the SnapStream about one time, it's very easy to use. So regarding, you know, CNN here, I'm going to, you know, play this recording, And then as I mentioned, we're gonna watch this live. So if you would turn it, again, if you would turn a TV on in your classroom to show CNN, this is what would be, on TV right now in real time. As Rakesh mentioned, the video is choppy here over GoToWebinar, but it would just be like you're watching it on a TV, in normal circumstances. The one thing that you'll notice here along the right side are the closed captions. So SnapStream actually indexes the closed captions and makes that searchable. So depending on your teachers, and what the focus of the curriculum is, you can very quickly jump to a particular moment in this broadcast. I can see, I'm not sure what they're talking about here, but I'll just type in the term president. And then I can see that there were 20 mentions of the word president in this particular episode on CNN, and I can quickly jump to those. So if we're covering a particular event, this is a great and fast way for a teacher to jump to the important moment. They could pause that, for example, and then cue it up, and then the classroom can discuss. Alternatively, you can actually even create sub clips from this because it's a recording. So I could mark an in point, I can mark an out point, and now I have this clip, and I can do various things with this clip. I could just save it on SnapStream. Alternatively, I could email this to my class. Let's say something happens in the evening. Assuming that I had remote access to the SnapStream system, I could grab that clip, email it to the class, and say hey, let's discuss this in the morning. So it's a very easy way to move television around and incorporate it into your curriculum. I see a question here regarding wireless projectors. The projector itself, that's in the classroom, that's going to project, assuming that is connected to your you're able to stream a laptop or something onto that. The wireless projector shouldn't be an issue, but that's something we can dig into on a case-by-case basis and look at the technical side of that. So I showed you how to search through a specific SnapStream recording. Something else that you can do is you can actually search through anything that's on the entire SnapStream system. So if I wanted to search president, and this is going to bring up a lot of search results, but I'll show you how we can narrow that down here shortly. So I am searching on every channel that I'm recording, and we have close to 50,000 search results. But let's say that I wanted to just search for President Donald Trump in quotes. You can actually utilize Boolean search terminology the same way you'd search on Google, and now we've got that down to 319 search results. You can get this very specific. If I wanted to talk about hurricane, I can add that in. I can search a particular date, etc. But if I wanted to find when President Donald Trump was mentioned in the same context as the term hurricane, I can see that on the ABC affiliate here, this happened a week ago. And when I click on this, it'll actually take me into that exact moment. So for the 50% of you on the webinar today who are interested in TV distribution, not only can SnapStream distribute TV, but it can be an extremely useful tool to your teachers to find those needle in a haystack mentions and then incorporate that into the curriculum. I showed you how to do a clip before. One thing we could do is we could actually do a playlist. So we could, if you're doing a topic on the hurricane for, science class, you could, put 10 news clips, put them into a playlist that your class could then watch. I know a lot of you, have different, media centers as well, at your schools. One thing we can actually do for, analyzing the news is we can watch up to 4 programs simultaneously. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Looks like I might have lost control of the, actually remoting in from New York to our Houston office. And it looked like for a second there was a lag there.
Sorry about that, Matt. Take over from here.
Okay. So yeah, as I was mentioning for, different media analysis, let's say there's a press conference or something, and there's a political science class, you can actually view up to 4 programs simultaneously. And this can be real or recorded. I'll queue those up. And then I hit play. And this allows me to watch, 4 video feeds simultaneously. So it's great for a live event or to see how a particular network is covering a different event. So for the media studies, programs, this is, extremely, extremely useful. I also want to show how, you're able to upload a video in the SnapStream library. So I go to library, this is where all my recordings live. I simply hit the upload button. And then here, I can, select a media file to upload. Let's say it's an MP4, and I would just simply upload that file, which I could then, play in the SnapStream library. This can also be configured down to the user level. So if I wanted to create a folder for Mr. Williamson's class or for the science department, these files can be uploaded, and then just Mr. Williamson or just the science department could have access to them. So very, very easy to use. And that goes even, to the admin. So let's say that you have a substitute teacher and you wanted to only give substitute teachers certain access, you can do that. Everything is configurable down to the user level within the system. It's very easy to set up, but you can see, you can put users in different groups. Here, this is our, administrator group. We have a scheduler group. And as I mentioned, everything is configurable down to the user level, and you can, we would help you customize and set that up. Let's see if there were any more questions that came in. Oh, thank you, Liana, for sending over the model number for your projector. We'll take a look at that, and we'll get back to you after the webinar regarding that. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in the software. Just as you can see, very, very easy to use. There actually is one more thing that I should mention. So I showed you how to do a search result through the closed captioning. We can also automate those. So if you're the political science teacher is focused on a particular area, we can create alerts for those search terms for hurricane, etc. And then you'll be sent an email digest daily or even in near real time anytime any of those search terms are mentioned on the channels that you have on your SnapStream system. So it's like a Google alert. You'll receive the SnapStream alert, you click on it, you go right to that moment in the video, you grab your clip, maybe you add it to a playlist, and then you're ready to go for your class. So that would be another feature that I think could be very useful in the EDU space. Would love to if there's interest, from what you've seen today, you think that SnapStream could be useful to your school district, would love to discuss further and set up a proof of concept. Typically, what we do for that is we'll send you out maybe a single channel encoder for morning announcements that you can test out and then see how the solution works. As you can see on the screen here. There's no commitment required. It's, very, our support team will walk you through the setup, which I mentioned is very easy over the phone. And then, we would go from there. So you can just go to snapstream.com/POC and, go there and, submit your inquiry, and we will be sure to follow up and get that started.
Yeah, there are a few other questions. Somebody asked about Chromebooks. So you're right there. Chromebooks don't do multicast right now. There's no, there's been talk about Chromebooks adding multicast support, but Chromebooks work great with unicast, but so it pulls up in inside of the Chrome browser, because there's no multicast, it's just unicast. Our player is HTML5, the recordings get made in H.264, etc. So that's all kind of seamless and just works. But yeah, for multicast, if you're doing multicast, Chromebooks won't work, and that's true for any solution that you're using that's multicast. Like that's just a limitation of the Chromebook platform at the moment.
So just to add to what Rakesh said, there is, it would still work. We would just do a unicast configuration there.
Yep. There was a question about closed captioning being seen within the player. So right now we show the captioning to the right of the player, but we have plans to display the captioning on top of the player. So, basically, I think before the end of this year or early next year, within the first month or two, we should be adding captioning support. This is a good place to also mention that we, as a company, we really do a lot of. Let's close this poll question and get back. Yeah, we do a whole lot of new development. So we're a very engineering-driven company. If you go on our site and you pull up the release notes, you'll see that we put out about 3 to 4 major releases a year, and these are not bug fix releases. I told you we're a 35-person company. The majority of the company is in engineering, and these are releases that contain major feature updates, typically driven by customer requirements. Another big school district that uses us is Northside Independent School District outside of San Antonio, and it was a large deployment. And in their case, for their particular platform, they needed a helper application that would make the process of handoff from the browser to VLC player more seamless. And we went out and we built that player app specifically for that customer. But of course, now we have other customers that use it as well. So for announcements, do you have equipment recommendations for camera and connection? I don't know. I don't think we really prescribe anything because we work with pretty much anything out there. But if you wanted a recommendation, Brian, who normally does K through 12, I'll pass the question along to him, and he'll come to you with some questions and make some recommendations. So we have a great team. So Brian is the account manager for K through 12. He's supported by Daniel Mee, who's our support person in sales. And then like we do a proof of concept, we'll typically have somebody from the support team assigned to it. We get great reviews on our support. They take phone calls as well as emails. They're all here in our office in Houston. They're very thoughtful and see things through. We get great feedback on our support team. So I don't know if we missed any of the poll questions. Yeah, there's one more question that I'll put up here, and it's just really a timing question to understand what your interest is, whether you have a requirement in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next 12 months, to just get a sense of how urgent your requirements are. So that would be, if you want to answer that, you can answer it. We will, I'll stick around. We'll keep the mic on and answer any questions, other questions that people have. I'm just glancing to see what other questions there are. Yeah, there's a wireless projector that was mentioned, and we'll look into whether there are any issues there. If you don't have issues with video playback on that projector in general, like playing YouTube or other video sites, then I suspect it should be perfectly fine. Shouldn't have any problem with those. But and we probably have customers that are deployed and using SnapStream with wireless projectors, and I just don't know about it. So I'm just not an area that I'm personally familiar with. Glancing to see if we missed anything else. All right. So with that, like I said, we're here and happy to answer any other questions. Looks like there's one more question. So there's somebody mentioned that what they were using was coax cable, was off of coax cable. Yeah, so the question is, will our system only work with HDMI, or can it do S-video as well? We can do S-video as an input. We can do coax as an input. So our encoder product takes in all of those. Those are all options. So you just, in the requirements process, you need to tell us what you want the handoff to be. So we have two versions of the SnapStream encoder. We have one that takes in HDMI or component video and audio, so YPBPR. And then the other version of the encoder, and by the way, for going back to the first encoder, it's a 4-channel encoder. The second 4-channel encoder we sell, the second variant of that encoder, is one that takes in a broadcast TV signal, so ATSC, and it also takes in QAM in the clear, so clear QAM. So that product also takes in S-video, baseband, analog audio and video. So it'll take in analog video over coax. It'll take in analog video over S-video. So that's the product you would want for an S-video input. Any other questions? Like I said, Matt and I will hang out here for a little bit, and happy to answer any other questions that you have. We thank you all for joining us today. You can download the handouts that were added on. You know, if you want to give one of us a call and get some questions answered right now via a voice call, you're welcome to do that. I'll give you my number, and I can, a couple of us can answer this number if you need to give a call, 713-446-7725. So happy to answer any questions off the webinar on the phone right now, or I've got Brian's contact information up here. You can follow up with Brian. I'm just Rakesh at snapstream.com, and Matt is MATT at snapstream.com. So by Plane Trainer Automobile, get in touch and we're happy to help. Thanks.